Today is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, and I'm King here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto every day, Monday through Friday at 10-ish. I like to sink it in. We are live. Fight! And today is Monday, July 14th, 2025. Welcome back to the show. Today's top story is Bitcoin shows no signs of fatigue as it overtakes gold in gains for 2025. U.S. Bitcoin ETFs record first back-to-back $1 billion inflows. Crypto funds post $3.7 billion inflows as Bitcoin soars a new high. Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto is now the world's 11th richest person. Bhutan government moves $74 million in Bitcoin to Binance. Binance helped create World Liberty Financial Stablecoin, and Pump.fun ICO raises 500 million, sells out in minutes. Bybit's Pump token sale marred by oversubscription. And last but not least, U.S. Democrats push back on digital asset bills with anti-crypto corruption week. So there's a lot going on today and a lot to cover. So let's get right into it. First and foremost, of course, let's go ahead and take a quick look at these prices on the day. I know you all are beyond super excited as we have reached a new all-time high over the weekend. I said coming in this Monday will give us a clearer picture of where we're going. And then by next week again on Monday, we will see another clearer picture as well. That's right. Afro King is back. Let's go ahead and look at these prices. Bitcoin is coming in. This is the official all-time high ever in all the years of Bitcoin. We're catching it live right now, folks. $121,000, $594 right there. Ethereum said, hey, we're alive, all because of Bitcoin, even though they're not going to thank Bitcoin. They finally hit their 3K earmark again, $3,059, up 2.35%. Bitcoin's up 2.5%. Ripple at number three, $3. They've hit that mark as well. Shout out to Ripple. They hit that $3 mark quick, up 29% on the 7-day cycle, up 6.17%. Number 5, BNB, $703, up 1.69%. 6, Solana, $168, up 3.2%. Number 8, Dogecoin at 20 cents, up 2.8%. 9, Tron at 30 cents, down 0.38% right now. And Cardano at 75 cents, up 1.88%. Fear and Greed Index is at 70. Ethereum somehow has managed to get 9.7%. Dominance back, and Bitcoin dominance is at 63.7. Folks, it is official. The summer pump season is here. However, we'll be discussing why it's here. And unfortunately, it's not because of us regular retail investors. We have to thank the institutions for buying the bags this go round and really for the past year. So we'll get more into that. But first and foremost, let me give some quick shout outs to the chat. What's going on, Laura Smith, Jump Out Girls, BK Crypto, Run You Down 9, Patrick Walter, TL, Credit K, Wisdom Bars, Eric Crypto Chief, Ivan 17 said, I'm up on IBIT calls. Drake mentioned Bitcoin in his new song. Okay, yeah. Listen, Drake is also saying the UK has better rappers than the US, so I wouldn't be quoting him on any calls right now. Didn't he just lose 20 million in the bet? Lord said, okay, it was 122. Okay, 122K we hit. You know, I saw 121 like 8 or 9 last night. I wasn't sure we actually hit the 122. I didn't see it in person or the news articles, but I definitely believe you because we're talking about a $300, $400 bounce, which definitely happens in this space all the time. Let's see. Once it hit 75 grand, once it hits 75 greed, I'm selling all my alts. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Let me know what you mean by that. All right, let's get into it. A couple first quick announcement. This week will be a crazy week. So I will say tomorrow, supposed to have an interview here tomorrow with one of the new products and platforms out there. Well, I won't say new, they've been around, but their team wants to come on. So tomorrow should be having a interview from the product lead on one of these teams. Hopefully that is to happen. So be tuned for tomorrow. If that doesn't happen, I will still most likely come on and do the show. Other than that, the rest of this week is pretty busy. Hollywood's calling me. So the next show after tomorrow will more than likely be Friday. But again, tomorrow, the game plan is to have an interview 7 a.m. in the morning, offering some new ways to get that good Bitcoin you all love. So make sure you're in tune for that one. All right, let's hop into it. So a lot of these stories sound similar. They have the same theme, I say. And that is that this is the institutions doing right now. Right now, these pumps are the institutions' pumps and not really ours, but let's get into it. First story of the day, Bitcoin shows no signs of fatigue as it overtakes gold in gains for 2025. Oh, there it is. We got to get an applause for that. That is right. Bitcoin has already overtaken gold. It's hit his new, oh, here it is. Yep, it hit his new all-time high above 122,000 on Monday, up 29% in 2025, overtaking gold's 27% gains year to date. The story is the headline itself. I'm gonna go into detail about that. I just wanted to put that out there because I know there are a lot of gold maxis that say, hey, Bitcoin is still fake, gold is what's best, blah, blah, blah. Well, now it is showing once again that Bitcoin can actually have a better rally than gold. Something else I want to add to this, the reason why I brought up this article is because whether it's Bitcoin or gold, you need to understand the charts and graphs you're actually looking at. Granted, there has been a lot of Bitcoin buying, there's been a lot of gold buying, right? There hasn't been enough Bitcoin buying to make it $122,000, folks. What you're actually seeing, once again in real time, we saw this in 2017, 2021, after COVID, right? We saw it in 2016, 2017, after the election when Donald Trump won the first time. What you're actually seeing is the devaluing of the United States dollar and other fiat currencies, right? One Bitcoin to today still equals one Bitcoin. That has never changed. There's a set amount. It will always be one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. But if you wake up and say, hey, all of a sudden one Bitcoin, instead of equaling $70,000, now equals $122,000, and gold is simultaneously pumping, then that means something is going on with the fiat currency. I don't know. Could it be Texas floods, ice raids, people mad at the president, left, right? All of a sudden the Epstein files aren't being released. This has nothing to do with Bitcoin. One Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. It is the dollar that is continuously being devalued and starting to sink. You got to really think about that. One Bitcoin hasn't changed for the people who are in Bitcoin. And again, we're about to reach that point too where there is going to be a selling of Bitcoin. Once Bitcoin crosses 250, like 300,000, people will not, like right now, people aren't thinking about selling it anymore. But once it really reaches these moments, there's still a lot of people who want their houses and cars. Once it reaches that quarter of a million mark, half a million mark, the sales stop. And that's when you fully understand one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin, not one Bitcoin equals $1,000,000. It doesn't matter if it equals $1 million or $2 million. If no one is actually going to sell it and they're going to figure out ways to use it. What is it? What's the word? To collateralize it, right? So you can take loans out against it in cash. It will be no reason to sell it. So something to kind of pay attention to right now as gold and as Bitcoin peaks is that, hey, these networks, these things, of course, these raw minerals, materials, they're all good. Yeah. But the real issue and the real thing that's going on right now is the American dollar is dropping in value before your eyes. Okay. So it's kind of crazy to actually see. And it's even crazier to see it happen to an asset that they said wasn't real first, of course, and it was for criminals, shadowy hooded super coders, right? And now all of a sudden it's like, well, this is now one of the biggest and best asset classes this planet has ever seen. So shout out to Bitcoin, of course, and one more hand clap for that. All right, with that being said, again, as I just kind of already teased, this is not coming from the retail side of the house. Our bags are literally being bought right now by these institutions. US Bitcoin ETFs record first back-to-back $1 billion inflows. All right, there it is. That is where as Jake is calling it, the mega candle, not the God candle, is happening. He said God candle just happened on 112,000 to 121,000 at credit K. Jake Fever's calling it the mega candle. Call it whatever candle you want. We're literally just watching Circle by Poloniex right now, but on the entire blockchain from institutions. We're watching BlackRock buy the entire bag all at once. This is the first time ever, the first back-to-back $1 billion inflows. So make no mistake, this is exactly why we're pumping. Now, this is an important story too, because it's the plus and minuses of everything. The plus side is like, yes, our bags are being bought, right? People who have Bitcoin are in it, whatever. The value is going up. This is a good thing. The net negative is that who's doing it and why and how they can manipulate it, right? Again, if you're getting super excited about this, every time you're seeing these big inflows happening, these institutions are slowly accruing a larger percentage of Bitcoin, and they'll have more of a say in what happens to the price of it. They're not going to keep pumping. That's not their game, right? Their game is to get money in different markets at the times it makes sense. So the moment it doesn't make sense to get money in Bitcoin anymore, they're going to sell off those ETFs and ETPs. Not saying they won't, revolving door come right back in 3 weeks later. We keep seeing that. But what will happen when they do decide to sell it off? Again, we were, I would say, at about 12%. we could say the institutions kind of ran about 12% of the price. That's probably about 14 to 15% now with these back-to-back billion-dollar inflows. And then we'll be talking about the ETPs as well, which means if tomorrow, and remember, this is crypto week, we'll be talking about it in a moment. The Democrats are going to be pushing back against everything the Republicans are trying to do with those three bills we mentioned last week. If things do not go as planned, which I doubt because things are being Republican led right now. But if things didn't go as planned, you better believe some of these institutions will roll back some of these buys they just did. And we could see the price not only drop that normal 10 to 12, 15% that the institutions account for, but even deeper if people get weak hands. Because again, you're looking at 120K to 110K, 105K, 100K. Don't let it hit 99K. That may be enough to scare people. But we are officially in a great zone, 120 to 150K. This is kind of what I said. We will see our first major retracement. So I want to see, can we hit that 150K? Will it maintain or will we get toward it and get a big drop? I think now we're in this space. However, as I mentioned last week, the timing is also good. This is the summertime. By the end of the summer, you could very well hit 140, 150K before we see any type of retracement going into September and October toward Halloween, which are normal retracement cycles, by the way. You get a small retracement going into Thanksgiving. You get the pump literally the day after Thanksgiving. You start to get another pump. And then from December 1st to 10th, you usually get a nice pump. Right before Christmas is a nice little dip. And then right after is a huge pump going into Bitcoin's birthday as well. So all is looking good. If the retracement were to happen, I think it will be happening here in the next couple months. But again, it will be tough because this is summertime and Bitcoin normally pumps during the summer. But again, US based spot Bitcoin ETFs saw over $1 billion in inflows on 2 straight days for the first time ever as Bitcoin hit new all-time highs this week. So this is what I mean. It's not like it's just happening normally. These are almost forced all-time highs, if I would say it like that. US spot Bitcoin ETFs recorded over $1 billion in daily inflows for the second day on Friday, marking the first time since their January 2024 launch that they've seen 2 back-to-back days with 10-digit inflows. On Friday, the 11 spot Bitcoin ETF products recorded total inflows of 103 billion, following 1.17 billion inflows the day before, according to Far Side data. So again, one of the things we also had to account for is that, hey, if they want this ETF program to work, they still will need a lot more Bitcoin, right? Like a lot more Bitcoin. So if this is going to continue at this pace, you're easily looking at a $225,000 Bitcoin, like easily. It could probably take another 6 to 8 months, but you are easily looking at that because this is just the beginning. We're only January 2024, this July, so we're a year and a half into Bitcoin ETFs. But this isn't even mature yet. This is a year, one and a half year old. They can't walk yet. Can they walk? I don't know. I don't got babies. I'm not good with babies. Can babies walk at a year and a half? Somebody let me know. I don't know, but they're still a baby. So wait until these ETF products mature. Wait until they get 3 years. Wait until you get that new fresh college grad who's like, hey, did you know you can manipulate ETFs like this? Like, oh, we never thought about that. I was like, yeah, we can go crazy with it. So there's so much more growth in this space for the ETFs. This is still dropping the bucket. So as long as this continues and they keep buying the bag, you better believe the price of Bitcoin is going to continue to skyrocket. All right. Along with this story, crypto funds post $3.7 billion inflows as Bitcoin soars to new highs. They're also talking about crypto ETPs, which experienced another week of strong inflows, with investors pouring in $3.7 billion and total assets reaching an all-time high of $211 billion as well. So again, this is more of the same as the last article, but this is the crypto ETPs year-to-date inflows, which surged to a new high of $22.7 billion, up about 20% from last week's $19 billion as well. So more and more capital is being pumped into this space. But again, it is not from the retail side. It is from the institutional side. It's a win. It's a net win as far as the price going up, the bags being sold. But it's a kind of like a little side eye a little bit because it's like, hey, the moment they decide to send this thing crashing for whatever reason, right now would be the perfect time to say, hey, let's short the market. If I'm BlackRock and I'm just here for the money, which they are, they could say, let's short the market by Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what happens with these votes and the way Congress and the Senate is leaning towards some of these different acts that are coming out. Like they could possibly short the market, sell or have a lot of outflows, know the market's going to take an aggressive, 5 to 10% dip conservatively, and then short it, right? Get all the money back from that, rinse, wash, repeat. We've been seeing it happen. So I won't say that we're just in the clear where we won't see any more dips. It's part of a normal, healthy cycle, but the chips are in the institution's hands right now. So that can go either way. With that being said, shout out to Satoshi Nakamoto as he, she, or they move up to the world's 11th richest person. That is right. Bitcoin would need to spike at least 208% and hit 370,000 per token for Satoshi Nakamoto to become richer than the top billionaire on the Forbes billionaire list. But without that, it doesn't need it. After it hit $120,000 on Sunday, Satoshi Nakamoto officially became the 11th richest person in the world. Nakamoto is believed to hold 1.096 million Bitcoin across thousands of wallets, which is worth over 131 billion at current prices, according to blockchain analytics company Arkham. This would, in theory, place Nakamoto at number 11 on Forbes' richest billionaire list, overtaking Michael Dell, CEO of tech giant Dell Technologies, with a net worth of $125.1 billion. So um, it does say the Forbes billionaire list doesn't consider crypto wallet holdings when evaluating billionaires. It tracks individuals' publicly verifiable holdings, such as stocks, which is kind of weird because it's kind of still putting Bitcoin in that space where it's like it's not really real, but it is. And I also want to give a shout out to the Winklevoss twins of Gemini. I'm not sure exactly where they stand, but they're definitely in the top 5, top 10 of all Bitcoin holders, especially like kind of individually. Exchanges, a couple exchanges may be able to catch them, but I believe they hold about 70,000 Bitcoin themselves. So shout out to the Gemini twins or Winklevoss twins for holding strong as well in this market and really pushing institutions to buy Bitcoin. You don't forget, they've been in New York City this whole ride. Not an easy ride for those folks. Could have lost it all as we saw other people in the city, but they continue to push through. So shout out to them. Really quick, let me see what you all are saying in the comments. I see the comment section is already lit as it should be. Rest in peace to Satoshi. Hey, a lot of people say it's Hal Finney, who is Satoshi Nakamoto for sure. Let's say, what else do we have going on? Kadeem said, you've been away for so long. I got a fro crown now. Hilarious. The same hitman that took out Epstein on Diddy. Oh, okay, y'all over here. We on a conspiracy train right now. I love it. All right, what else do we have? Yeah, the interview will be live tomorrow. The interview is going to be live 7 a.m. Live interview. Let's see, what else do we have? New World Order says Stan. The price of Bitcoin is priced in global M2 debasement. Is the legislation move? If the legislation moves forward this week, we might really be off and running. Yes, Crypto Chief, you're right. You know, I'm gonna push through. We'll talk about that. But the legislation does uh push through this week. Yeah, next week. I mean, and see, this is where it's going to get scary because, yeah, next week, I mean, and you have to remember the percentages are dropping, folks. To get to 200K from a percentage point isn't that far away any longer. Like, it doesn't take a lot of, I'm not even about to do the math live, but it's not as high as a percent as it used to be, right? We've already broached 120. So if by the end of this week, next week, if everything does go well, was it 122K? I mean, easily 135, 137,000. I don't think we'll face real resistance until 140, 142, 145. Those are like psychological barriers to 150,000. So I think that'll be the next time we face real resistance. But yes, if things go through right this week, we could. But also, let's not forget, it could also be a sell the news event, right? You know, these institutions are loading up on Bitcoin, on ETFs, and everything else, saying that we know this is going to get pushed through. As soon as it gets pushed through, they say time to short the market and sell the news, as we've seen many times. Now, I will say these sell the news events are getting like it's happening less and less as this market matures. So I wouldn't be holding my breath for it. But it is something that's possibly could happen. And even if it were to happen, again, you're looking at 10 to 12% of a drop for maybe what at this point, a week, max week and a half type of deal. I don't see us going into some type of crypto winter, all because of a few institutions trying to short the market, no matter how much Bitcoin and crypto they hold right now. Let's see. Credit case says take profits and move it to Bitcoin, BTC, YGO. Oh, you got options. I'm currently doing that. Oh, you're speaking to somebody. Take profits and move it to Bitcoin. I got it. YGO is a person. I was like, what are we talking about here? Michael Saylor said the companies and projects that plug into Bitcoin will do numbers. I agree, and they definitely are. Jake said, not selling off nothing till midterms are done. These politicians are who we think they are. I fully agree with you. And with that being said, I'm actually going to be talking about these politicians as well. Some articles that come out today that's kind of showing a closer, what is it, a closer relationship between some of these politicians and the crypto companies themselves. That's actually our next story. The story is in the headline. Bhutan, shout out to Bhutan. I know a few folks familiar with that. Bhutan government moves $74 million in Bitcoin to Binance as price hits new highs. Bhutan's government has moved $74 million in Bitcoin to Binance over 2 weeks, possibly cashing in as the asset hits new all-time highs. Now, why is this story important? Not because of Bhutan. Let me say that. This story is important because it is beginning to show an already crazy relationship between exchanges, especially foreign exchanges from foreign countries, and those foreign countries actually working with them. The Bhutan government, if you don't know, is probably one of the smallest governments out there, the Kingdom of Bhutan, blah, blah, blah. And they have a lot of power in their region, right? You're not going to just go to these steep mountains. I forgot where he's in that steep mountains in Eurasia somewhere where the population is super low. You can't even really get a visa to go, right? Like it's a hard thing to get there. They're very strict, but I hear they're very nice and loving and cool people. Okay. So, not saying anything about the people, just saying something about the government. My point is this: if Binance decided, hey, Bhutan, we're not giving you your money back, there is nothing Bhutan could do about it. They don't have an army. Like they're not the United States where we about to send some Navy SEALs like Batman to another country and bring you home to us. Like there is no recourse for them. So this is what's going to like kind of getting scary to me. Is like they're really relying on these exchanges and the people working for them to be good actors, or they're really relying on the presence of their allies, like Bhutan, for example, to say, hey, if Binance were to do us wrong, you got our back, right? Because again, if Binance really just woke, like right now, Binance said, thanks, Bhutan, for the donation. They said, what do you mean donation? I thought, yeah, you just donated $74 million to us. So to me, this is already a scary thing where governments now, I want you all to understand is governments, especially something like they have a king. It's the kingdom of Bhutan is feudal, right? You have a king and they're giving their money to a third party. Like, no, not your keys, not your cheese, folks. We already know this. So that's something that's kind of on the horizon to me. I hope it doesn't end bad, but it is something that can definitely end very bad right there. So I don't know. It's something I kind of raised my eyebrow at where it was just like, huh, like, you would think if you have that much money in Bitcoin and crypto, you would do your own wallets, you would do your own servers and so on and so forth. But again, this just shows that a lot of these folks don't know exactly what they're doing. They don't trust themselves to do it. And instead, they're passing the buck off, even if it's $74 million in government funds going to a third party that's not even a citizen of your nation that owes you nothing, right? And let's not forget, Binance is that Singapore, but Singapore, but Chinese backing initially or something. I don't know. All it takes is one strong pull of one strong government, and all of a sudden, all that money is poof gone into the air. So I don't know. When I saw that story, I kind of was like, this is very suspect, but hey, shout out to Bhutan for trusting Binance, another company I would not trust with all of my crypto, but hey, there it is. Also, is being reported Binance helped create World Liberty Financial Stablecoin. A Friday report from Bloomberg suggested closer ties between the U.S. President Donald Trump's family backed crypto business and one of the largest digital assets. It looks like they're citing three people familiar with the matter. Binance helped create, promote, and played a role in the largest transaction of WLF's USD1 stablecoin. The crypto business backed by Trump and his three sons launched USD1 on March 4th. Now, of course, the big issue with this is if you don't know or don't remember, Binance's CZ has been arrested or had been arrested by the United States government. Of course, he owed us what $4 billion in money because they claimed he was money laundering and blah, blah, blah. Didn't have the right licenses to do his business in the United States, so on and so forth. Well, people are now screaming, hey, he's essentially by helping Trump, Binance helping Trump and Royal Liberty Coin or whatever, he essentially bought his freedom from the United States by giving him that money. Now, with Trump already touting those gold pass citizenships, I would not, of course, put this behind him. And not only him, any leader of our country. Like, you mean to tell me Biden wouldn't pull the same play with all our money going to Ukraine over there? No, it's the same thing. So the news story is this: Binance, private company who has money from Bhutan, the governments, and everywhere else around the world, who was going to get and got arrested by the United States and had been under constant pressure of the United States Department of Justice, has suddenly last few months gotten all types of pardons and leeway to do what he wants, and now is coming out, hey, did you know that your president actually did like a multi-million-dollar deal with him and his company? Oh, wonder how he got the leeway, right? There's not a big question there. Of course, a lot of people are upset. They're going to be using this as fuel here this week, actually, when it comes to these different legislative actions trying to be passed or discussed. It's already come up in stories that they're saying, hey, take no further look than the relationship to Donald Trump and Binance. And you can see why we don't want some of these crypto acts pushed right now. Now, I will say with the price being 122,000, no one cares, right? Like the average voting person doesn't care. All they know is their bags are being pumped, they're getting more money. They don't care how, why, what relationship is going on as long as they get their capital. So I will say the overall community is kind of safe in that aspect, to where no matter how much people push back and show these relationships being unfair or showing favor, is just like, well, the average person's making money, so who cares, right? Looks like let's see, Cointelegraph reached out to a Binance spokesperson in Royal Liberty Financial, but had not received responses at time of publication. However, Binance co-founder Champagne Zhao CZ, of course, denied the reports, as he's actually denied many reports in the past that have come out to be true as well. So it's not like he's going to say, yeah, me and the president got a backroom deal going on. Like, I go free, he get money. Like, who's going to come out and say that? That's ridiculous. And hinted at a possible lawsuit in the July 11th X post. The executive said, Bud, Bloomberg just wrote another hit piece sponsored by a competitor containing so many factual errors, I don't even know where to begin. Might have to sue them again for defamation. Well, here's my thing. Right now, I'm going to believe Bloomberg. Two reasons. For one, if they, I don't even know if they had been sued by them, but if they have already been sued and lost to Binance, I highly doubt they will run an inflammatory piece like this, knowing they will get sued again and lose again. Like, does that sound like Bloomberg to you, folks? Now, there's a few major publications out there, Bloomberg, Reuters, or the like. Like, I don't think they're going to go that far just for a story to be sued again. So I'll say that first. Secondly, if Binance and CZ actually were to sue them and really felt that way, they wouldn't put it on the X post like, oh, might have to sue them again. Dot dot dot. No, Monday morning there will be a cease and desist. There will be a lawsuit right now. This is Binance. They just got $73 million from a different government. You think they don't have lawyers to write up some lawsuits and cease and desist over the weekend? Are you kidding me? But instead, they didn't do that. They went to an X post, which tells me that Bloomberg's telling the truth. Like, oh man, if they wasn't lying so bad, I beat them up. Like, but you're bigger than them. You couldn't just go over there and beat them up if you want to. So they must really not be lying. What are you saying? Champagne Zhao CZ, the former CEO of Binance, pleaded guilty to one felony count as part of a settlement with U.S. authorities in 2023. Although he had already served 4 months in prison, he said in May that he was seeking a presidential pardon from Trump. Such a pardon could potentially allow Zhao to return to a managerial or operational role at a U.S. crypto business. At the time of publication, he had not publicly commented on the report. So, again, this is all important this week. And I will say this. I like to play devil's advocate. I like to be super objective when looking at this. The part I will say that Binance may have some truth about Bloomberg possibly running a competitor's field story to push this, is that we do have this quote unquote crypto week this week. So for this to be dropping, this dropped on Friday. It looks like to drop on a Friday right before crypto week begins, as these inflows are coming in, as these pumps. Like, I will say that's not by a mistake either. So you either had the information, you sat on it for a few days, or like just this timing is impeccable. But yes, an article like this will be used in Congress to stop or slow down the passing of some of these bills, saying, look at the conflict of interest. You got the Bhutan government with Binance. You got essentially our government working with them. Who knows who Binance is actually working with? And all these different plays are happening in the background without the American public, or at least the people who like to benefit off the American public. I'm looking at Congress, Senate, and foreign actors and investors. Like, this leaves them out on the code. So this is being used as ammo to this crypto week right now. Again, we'll be talking about that in a moment. But let me just actually bring that article up right now. Here it is. U.S. Democrats push back on digital assets bills with anti-crypto corruption week. That's what they're calling this week. So If you're a Republican or if you're on the side of crypto, this is crypto week. And if you hate it, this is now being considered anti-crypto corruption week. And as I said, they are definitely using stories like Binance helped create World Liberty Financial Stablecoin as a reason to push this message, this narrative that, hey, we need to stop the corruption and look no further than your own president and Binance right now. So, House Republicans announced a crypto week to consider three digital asset bills starting today, as we talked about in depth last week, but Democratic leaders are pushing back. Looks like in a Friday notice, House Financial Services Committee ranking member, none other than Maxine Waters, and the Digital Asset Subcommittee ranking member Stephen Lynch said they will lead Democrats in opposition to Republican efforts to pass what they call dangerous legislation. I want to remind everybody, and you all correct me in the comments. I believe Maxine Waters is from California. And if you remember, just recently, California passed legislation that says, yeah, if you leave your crypto on an exchange for more than 3 years without checking on it, I guess, or even if you check on it, I don't know, they can just keep it. They can take it, they can keep it, and blah, blah, blah. Like just literally stealing your Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. You don't see that happening with bank accounts. So you don't see it happening with bank accounts. You don't see it happening with stocks, bonds, or gold. I have no clue how legislation was able to be passed that says you can do it with Bitcoin and crypto. I mean, you talk about thieving people right in front of them. So absolutely insane. But hey, I will say this as a silver lining. If you're one of those folks in California who's worried about that law, just know the law works both ways, right? Right? Hey, you didn't pay taxes on this crypto or that crypto. Man, I had that crypto for 3 years. I thought y'all took it. What taxes there to pay? I thought you took it. I didn't know. Like, what are you talking about? So slippery slope once again, but it can also help the retail user by them not fully thinking everything through when they made that law and legislation. But again, Maxine Waters is talking about dangerous legislation while she's actually in the same state that is saying, hey, we will take your crypto and Bitcoin and be leaving it on exchange for 3 years. Absolutely insane. Republican leaders said earlier this month that they will address those bills on stablecoins, crypto market structure, and central bank digital currencies starting today. Again, we talked about that last week. And Maxine Waters, Auntie Waters, as some of you say, ain't my auntie. Republicans are doubling down by fast tracking a dangerous package of crypto legislation through Congress, said Waters, aside from lacking urgently needed consumer protections and national security guardrails, aka how can Congress and the Senate get paid off it? These bills would make Congress complicit in Trump's unprecedented crypto scam. Now, two things can be right at once. For sure. What Trump and the Republicans are doing, of course, we love it because it pumps Bitcoin. It makes the crypto community stronger. And I'll go as far to say the way Biden administration did the crypto community, like, yeah, the gloves are off. When they started doing the dirty stuff, the gloves have already been off, right? When the SEC started attacking every company out there just for trying to be a crypto company, the gloves came off. So it is hard for me to feel sympathetic to saying like, oh, this thing is just getting pushed through and it's like it's being unfair and it's just to help Trump scam. It's like, I mean, I said it. I've been saying it since day one, since he got back in the office with the whole crypto and libertarian push. Is like, yes, he is not doing this for the overall Bitcoin community and crypto community. He let Ross out to make sure, hey, the money was good. They literally paid him for that, so he had to keep that campaign promise. He helped pump it, as I said when he first got in office. I was like, or even before office, I said at 100K Bitcoin, he doesn't need to do anything else. We like he's already done his part. But now, yes, as it gets even deeper and deeper, as I keep mentioning, he and his wife have to cover their own tracks. They have their own meme coins. You better believe every type of legislation he's going to be pushing when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto is going to be pro Bitcoin and crypto. No, it's not going to be a fair process as Maxine Waters want, just like it wasn't a fair process for the last 4 or 5 years when Biden and the SEC. And, I'll go even further back. When Trump was in office the first time, he was letting the SEC roam kind of wild as well. So I'm not going to put everything on the Biden administration. It was both of them, right? But the point is the gloves have been off already for the past 8 or 9 years. I won't include last year, but prior to that, the last 8 or 9 years, the gloves have been off and crypto and Bitcoin have been relentlessly attacked. So now to see it being like that happen the other way where it's like, well, this isn't fair. It hadn't been fair. It hadn't been fair. So let's keep along that. Let's not try to play fair in the third quarter. Now, no, no, no. We're going to keep cheating. Y'all been cheating? All right, let's keep cheating. So that is what I'm seeing here. But again, I will agree with her. She's saying, I agree with her when she's saying This will make Congress complicit in Trump's unprecedented crypto scam. I fully agree with that. But I also say to that, who cares? Maxine Waters, if we really were to dig up under the hood, you don't got no scams going on right now, huh? Pelosi don't got no scams going on right now. Like, how many? Like, again, this is a gangster party, people. A majority of the Congress right now, Senate, like, it's so much corruption going on in the United States. It is like it is absolutely insane, and it did not just start now. It's for me, I would say it really started back in the Bush Jr. era with the weapons of mass destruction, all right, and the military contracts that came out of that. If you want to talk government corruption. So there has been government corruption. Don't try to slow it down now that retail folks are making money. And that's what's crazy. Maxine Waters is a Democrat, right? She's supposed to be there for the people, quote unquote. But the moment the people start making money, she's like, oh, hell no. We gotta stop this. We cannot have y'all smartening up and getting bigger bags as well. That is a dangerous combination. We need to do one thing. Let's go ahead and spike this education, keep people's crypto, and make sure these packages don't get passed. And in general, I also would say this. She's taking it a little bit far by calling it a dangerous package of crypto legislation. I will say I disagree with that because we have no real legislation right now. So the fact that somebody's actually making real legislation, and instead of her saying possibly changing the legislation to match a different narrative, she's saying let's just get rid of it to once again be in this gray area. I totally wholeheartedly disagree with that. But again, I would not expect anything less from some of the folks who are actually trying to keep your Bitcoin and crypto. Like, that's the one thing you can say about Trump. Um, he's not trying to keep your Bitcoin or crypto. He's trying to keep his own. He's trying to keep his own, right? So he wants you to keep yours. Hey, Trump, like, hey, you got your money, I got my money, man. Like, I don't know what's happening over there. Y'all don't know what's happening over here. And most people seem to be okay with it because that is our community as a whole, where people are like, yeah, don't worry about how much Bitcoin I got, what my bag look like. Like, you worry about yours. And he's pushing that same narrative. Whereas Maxine Waters and a lot of Democrats are pushing the narrative, hey, we should be able to have only centralized wallets on exchanges. We should be able to take your Bitcoin and crypto after 3 years if you don't use it for whatever reason. You shouldn't be allowed to trade on DEXs. Like, they have a litany of rules that is literally going against everything the Trump administration is doing for Bitcoin and crypto. So again, whether you like the orange guy or not, when it comes to this topic, when it comes to this space, crypto and Bitcoin, there has so far been no other leader in our country to push it the way he's pushing it. Again, he is not pushing it for us. I'm not being naive. I'm not saying, oh, he loves us and loves the community. No, he's pushing it for him. But pushing it for him is helping us. It is what it is. All right. Let me look at some comments. I see y'all going crazy. Whenever I mention that Big T name come up, boy, hey, y'all go crazy in them comments. Let me see. Let's keep it civil too. Let's keep it civil. Again, birds of the same feather, Democrats and Republicans. They're all here to get money for themselves, not for us. So let's keep that in mind as well. All right, looking at some of these comments, let's see. Trump is messing this up for hello, Chloe. Wait, what? Money printer go bird. You already know it. Bukele and Sailors on cloud nine. Oh yeah, Bukele and Michael Saylor is definitely on cloud nine. Let's see. Putting in my buy for Fidelity Bitcoin custody, some to the IRA, some to the Roth. Okay, that's hey, I mess with Fidelity. I told you all when I used to be in the traditional stock market. I believe I was with Fidelity for a bit as well. So they're solid for sure. I think ETF approval started coming in at Bitcoin being $33,000. Okay, so boom, from there to here, that is 100K essentially almost. That is huge. Oh, you said I had a crown. I get what you're saying. Hilarious. What else do we have? Sell Bitcoin, put your money where? Exactly, Jake. I actually agree with that. Sell Bitcoin, put your money where? That's the realization everyone's not seeing. All-time high stock market, bonds are trash, gold all-time high. Honestly, the only place you could really sell your Bitcoin, I don't say only, but one of the smarter plays or a play to sell your Bitcoin is for real estate. All right. If you're talking about, I want a new house, or even if you want a new business where you need brick and mortar, right? That's the place to do it, especially as these folks start to get more and more Bitcoin, because you don't even need, let's take that back. You don't even need to sell it. There are so many, it's becoming mature. There's so many places that will take your Bitcoin under collateral and give you the cash back and split the proceeds when you come back. So you don't even need to sell it really for those real estate plays. It's becoming, that being less and less likely. You actually need to sell versus collateralize it. So yeah, I mean, there's becoming less and less places of you to even move it to that makes sense. I'm with that. Hyman said, I know this is not really news, but Bitcoin is now the number 4 asset by market cap. We moved above Amazon. That is huge news, actually. Number 4 asset cap. And people are still calling it a scam and fake and everything else in between. Can you believe it? It's kind of crazy. CA Allen, what's going on? Stan said corruption is insane. That's why Trump's selling Teslas on the White House front lawn uncontested. Nerd Up said facts. Trump moves like a Bitcoiner. He really does. And I think that's what's pissing him off because it's like, what's even crazier is the fact of how he's doing the executive orders and everything. That's somebody who's moving like a Bitcoiner right there, right? I saw what Jake said in Discord the other day. Today is tell your boss I'm not coming to work day or something like that. What you say? Oh, you said today. Jake Fever said today is tell your boss watch your mouth day. That was pretty funny, and I also agree. And with that being said, I know a few people have also asked again about the Discord. So let me actually get this invite out right now. I'm going to put the new link into the chat and copy it in the comments afterwards. So everyone has that new link to the Discord for those who haven't joined yet. Boom, there it is. It's in the chat right now. Let me go ahead and pin it as well at the top. So if you hear this show, just go to the show, go back to the live chat, and the Discord is in that chat again. Make sure you join up. All right, last couple of stories. I told you so. Hey, shout out to Alec for sharing the article in the Discord this weekend. Let's talk Pump.fun. All right, Pump.fun launches ICO, raises $500 million and sells out within minutes. If you remember last week, I said $100 million conservative on a conservative side. I said $100 million. So $100 million was my minimum. I kind of figured that already. And they 5x'd it, $500 million, marking it as one of the largest ICOs, I want to say ever. It may be the largest ICO ever. It's definitely one of the top 3 because which call had a 240 million ICO, and that was one of the biggest ever. What was that? I see the name. Is it Tez something? It's either T or I. I see it in my head, but I remember there was a 240 million ICO. That was when Crypto Blow was with. But now this is a $500 million one. That to me shows you the maturity of the market, what type of institutions are in here, things we discussed, but it shows that the capital is here. Venture, and I think that 240 million ICO was in 2017, 2018-ish as well. So to see it go essentially double about 8 years later is incredible. Venture capitalists in the Solana community touted the ICO as a showcase for capital formation in the age of internet capital markets. Meme coin launch platform Pump.fun raised $500 million in an initial coin offering on Saturday, which sold out in about 12 minutes. Tell me there was no unfair play going on, A. And B, it also shows how whack this ICO was. And this is how some of the ICOs of the past were, to where it's like, you got 10 minutes to get it and blah, blah, blah. And like, a good ICO will do things like, again, while the product was bad, but Vinny Lingron, when he did his ICO that we did live on the channel, he at least let everybody get like a randomized number, and then whatever that number was, that's the spot in line you had to wait. It actually added more to the ICO as far as the narrative, the content. We created content around it where he's like, we're waiting for our number to pop up on the screen so we can buy whatever we want to buy. I think it took us like 3 or 4 or 5 hours before our number was called, and then you could buy as much as you want, or I think you could buy up to like 2 or 3, something crazy. But the point was, it was like a fair ICO to where they wanted everyone to have a chance to get at least a little bit of the product, right? Whereas you're seeing here, it was a first come, first serve. It looks to be at least happened in 12 minutes. And of course, there was probably some prefix things going on behind the scenes. The pump token has a maximum supply of 1 trillion, and 33% of the supply was allocated to ICO, which means there's still a ton of the supply left, which also means for the folks who think this is going to be the saving grace, I would say be leery, because if they were to ever start to drop that supply out, you better believe that price would like drastically dip. 24% of the supply was allocated to the ecosystem and future community projects. Yeah, I heard that one before. While 13% was, remember this quote when I just said I heard that before, in the next 6 months to a year when something happens to that 24%. That's all I'm going to say. While 13% was reserved for existing investors, according to the meme coin platform. Of the 33% ICO allotment, 18% went to institutional investors, which is absolutely crazy when you really look at it. So at least the retail market isn't just going to be the ones getting slapped. It looks like the institutional market would get slapped more, or this actually would pump, no pun intended, because they did have so much involved in it. And 15% was offered to retail traders. Pump.fun's ICO may signal return of the meme coin sector, which experienced a sharp downturn after being one of the highest performing asset classes in 2024. I will also add to that, um, institutional investors, folks. Do you know how crazy this is right now? Where you're really looking at there weren't really a lot of institutional investors in the 2017 ICO craze. Once they started to come, you remember they turned into STOs first. I want to say that. Secondly, there definitely weren't any institutional investors for meme coin types. Folks, this is a meme coin that got institutional investors. You understand what I'm saying? This is essentially not saying they did it, but this is essentially the Goldman Sachs, the BlackRocks. Like this is supposed to be blue chip Disney or Bitcoin or even Ethereum maxis, right? This is them saying, no, 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 no. Let's go dumpster dive. And I heard about this Pump.fun. This is them using real capital, real money to go dumpster diving on meme coins. This is a first timer. It's absolutely insane. And they did a $500 million dumpster dive. All right. I did skim this article beforehand. I think it was this article. Is this one? Yeah, I believe so. There it is. Very bottom. Something you all want to know. Coinbase's head of product, Connor Grogan said the great majority of tokens launched on meme coin creation platforms like Pump.fun and competitors like Let's Bunk are created by automated bots. There's one guy responsible for about 18,000 tokens created on Pump Fund. It appears they wake up and create on average about a dozen tokens an hour until they go to bed, and then they do it again every day. They've done this for months. The exact wrote in January. So, essentially, this is something I kind of spoke about earlier this year. I haven't had a chance to get it off the ground. I do want to do something like this, not as aggressive, but something like this because this is the future right now as we see it. Get on new ecosystems, get on new chains, and essentially the same way you do www.com addresses, right? You had the .com bubble, the 1-800 bubble. This is the same thing going on with the meme coins. Any name you can think of, any cultural significance you can think of, just make a meme coin, make a meme coin, make a meme coin, and hopefully one will pop. Because you got to remember, out of 18,000 of them, all this person needs is for one of them to pop, and it will change your life for forever. So it's a crazy game they're playing, but it will work. It does work. We've seen it work in other spaces. And that kind of also shows like the true value of Pump.fun. It isn't really there. It's a meme coin. It even says, hey, we're pumping and we're having fun. So again, it is absolutely insane to see legit accredited institutional investors say, yeah, Pump.fun sounds like something we'll put our money into. Like, that's absolutely insane. A and B, it kind of also shows us that the fix is in because there's no way institutions are putting their money in Pump.fun without having an inside track to it. You get what I'm saying? Like, there is no way this is just another meme coin. Yeah, we think the tokenomics of it look good. A trillion tokens, 33% release. Let's throw $500 million into it. I don't believe it. There's some insider trading going on per usual in this space, but it's something to look at. All right, and last but not least, and I told you so on Friday about Bybit doing this token launch. I didn't trust it. Bybit's pump token sale marred by oversubscription and API glitches. Bybit, a leading crypto exchange, recently concluded its pump token sale, which was marred by significant oversubscription and technical issues. The sale, initially planned for a specific capacity, was overwhelmed by an unexpected API glitch, leading to delays and user frustration. As a result, some users successfully received their token allocations, while others were left without any tokens, prompting a wave of backlash from the community. Listen, of course, Bybit came back out and said, so I'm not going to go through the whole story. I'm just going to say I kind of told you so. Like, I didn't trust them doing it to begin with. If anything, today's a better day to actually get the Pump.fun tokens if they're still out there to get or to trade for them versus doing it through Bybit. I almost can guarantee you there are going to be some stories coming out, at least on the underground. When you look at the Reddits and the forums, there are going to be people who said, I gave my money to Bybit. I didn't get my tokens. I can pretty much guarantee this is going to happen. As I said Friday, I didn't trust Bybit. They have already been keeping a lot of folks crypto and Bitcoin. And this to me was just another way for them to confuse a lot of people when a lot of high volume there and a lot of high capital was there. So they could say, well, it wasn't our fault. X, Y, and Z happened. Again, this is one of the largest exchanges on the market saying there was an unexpected API glitch. How is it unexpected if the day before it happens, I tell you it's going to happen and I don't even work for them? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't work for Bybit. I don't know nobody over there. And then literally the day before I said something was going to happen and poof, there it happens. But you mean to tell them with all their billions of dollars and all their regulatory and presidential connections all over the world, they couldn't stop this from happening. They couldn't foresee it, right? Just a YouTuber could. Again, I wouldn't trust them. Okay, there we go. Alex said they gave everyone affected a $20 credit. That's pretty funny, actually, because let's say you put $2,000 into it and didn't go through, and they're like, "Yeah, calm down, calm down, calm down. We got you. Take this $20 credit." I hear there's endless shrimp at Red Lobster. I don't know. Okay, like this is what's going on right now. Shout out for Bybit for being who I said you were. You're making me look like a genius. I can do nothing else but appreciate it. All right. Other than that, that is the show. Let me go ahead and take a quick peek at these last comments coming in. I do see some comments. Mr. Gamble the Prince said, dog, no pre-sale, no team allocation, no insiders, no pay. KOLs did not do a paid promo. 100% distributed, free and fair. And circulating supply will not pay CEXs for listing, will not pay market makers. All right, there we go. I just did a commercial for you. All right, hopefully it works out. Let's see. El Dabno L, what's going on? Have a fantastic day as well. Yep. Hyben said it's fixed. And let's see, 5150 Gamer, what up, though? Says Trump said, don't knock no pork chop off my plate, and I won't knock one off yours. Exactly. Hey, we're going to end it on this again. I want to mention tomorrow, 7 a.m., the game plan is to have an interview. If the interview doesn't happen, we'll just have a normal show, but the game plan is to have an interview. So stay tuned for that. And then I'll be back on Friday after that. But other than that, that is the show for today. We're in great times right now. Bitcoin all-time high, $122,000. This is quote unquote crypto week or anti-corruption week. We'll see which narrative wins out by Friday or Monday. Again, I'm sure by Monday we'll have a better picture. And depending on who wins out, even though I think we all know it looks like it's going to be crypto week, expect a lot to change in the coming weeks, right? Possibly as soon as Monday with the price getting another aggressive pump. Because if things get passed by Tuesday or Wednesday, oh, you better believe they're about to have some inflows coming on Friday. So that Monday price might be as cool 131,000. Honestly, that's kind of conservative too, because what is 131,000 from 122,000? It's like 8% off the top of my head or something. I don't even know. So yeah, you could be looking at 135,000 by next week, 136 pretty easily. So remains to be seen, but I can't wait. This is going to be an interesting week, seeing crypto week unfold in front of our eyes. And then next week, we'll get the realization of this one. Again, tomorrow, 7 a.m., be there.